So, before we actually get into this episode, I just wanted to leave a little disclaimer. If you have children around, I would advise to maybe wait and listen or watch this episode a little later. I just have to say that because I feel like I keep the cussing to a minimum, but in this episode, you may see a little different side of Liz, one that's a little more laid back, not so quote unquote professional. And I just know that it's a little loud and maybe colorful in the language that is spoken. So before you decide to listen to this, I just wanted to give a little disclaimer. So let's get into this awesome episode with an amazing person who I am so honored to have on my podcast. What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Tribe of Runners podcast. I'm your host, Liz Myers, and today I have a special guest, Jim Witcombe, who I've had the pleasure of coaching for quite some time, and I have to say is someone when I first met, he was very straight edge. He was very nice, respectful. He agrees to sign up for coaching. I'm super excited. The first meeting we have, he goes, listen, I'm going to be 100% honest with you. I was being very professional, but that is not myself. I am a smartass. I am this way. I hope you don't mind. And instantly I knew we would be the best of friends. So thank you so much, Jim, for coming on the podcast and sharing your story.
Well, I just wanted to, you helped me so much during my race this year, that a couple races this year, that I just reached out to you and I said, Liz, if there's any way I can help you, man, I don't, I'm an older runner and I don't know if your audience would be interested in that, but we have so much fun just shooting the crap that maybe there'll be some entertainment value there, and maybe an older runner out there can pick up some tips too. So I'm excited.
For sure.
It's great to see you, and yeah, gloves are off, man. Let's go.
Yes. And I will let everyone know, when you reached out to me, you had already run Sedona 125.
Yes.
You were going after it for your second time,
Yes.
and you wanted to do better, and you thought coaching would be a good idea. And when you reached out, swear to you, the first thing that came to mind is this is going to be the funnest episode I've ever recorded. I'm so excited. I had no desire to hear you talk about me helping you. More or less, I was like, I get to chat with one of my favorite athletes. And I know, as you said, the shots are going to be, the shit is about to hit the
Absolutely.
fan, and the true Liz and Jim are about to come out. I'm so excited.
Yeah, so and you're right. When I filled out all the paperwork, well, first of all, I listened to Joe's podcast, and his enthusiasm is so infectious that and I knew I was going to do the 125 again, and I've been toying with the idea of coaching, and I didn't have a coach last year when I did it on my own, and I thought, man, I'd really like to shave quite a bit of time off, and yeah, so listening to his podcast, and I thought, I'll reach out, and man, I just got blessed that you were available, and I did. I was all prim and proper and stoic, and then at the very end I said, really, Liz, let me be honest with you, I'm really a professional smartass, and that's really my comfort zone. And as soon as I said that, we both relaxed, and then we could be ourselves. And so it's been a very easy coaching client relationship, and I appreciate that.
For sure. And I have to say this because I am a coach and I have a variety of athletes, and I've had some leave, had some come back. I've, experienced it all, and every relationship is so different. You know what I mean? And it's not like every single coach to athlete is going to be amazing, but I do hope and wish everyone can have that, because it's made us work together so much easier. I feel very relaxed to talk to my athletes. I never want it to be, I get a text message and look at it and be like, oh, this person again,
Right.
So with you and with all of my athletes, I enjoy each and every one of them. And I think if I haven't yet, I'm officially announcing you're probably one of my favorites, if not like the top tier.
Whatever.
And you're
whatever.
You've already said, oh, Liz, you're going to be blowing smoke up my ass. And I'm like, yeah, I 100% am. But it's true. You can even ask Kristen, my partner. Every time I'm like, it's Jim, she goes, oh, he's your favorite. I'm like, he is. So we just really get along well.
I was going to ask you, so Um, what were your thoughts when you saw and it's like, oh shit, what am I gonna do with this 65-year-old guy? I know you personally manage training systems for each individual, but what were your thoughts like? Well, let's just see what this old pants shitter can do, let's see now. And I did tell you that I had a base kind of built up before I
Mhm,
signed
mhm.
up. So, but I'm sure you're like, oh yeah, well let's just see, and so is that kind of how do you approach that?
Yeah, yeah. So and you know this, and I've maybe said this, but in different ways. Every athlete is truly so different. So I always like to take the first 2 weeks to like really examine their runs, really see, is this old, as you call yourself, pant shitter, pant kicker, is this guy really maintaining well? Is he not overdoing it? Is he underdoing it? And I have to be honest, I do this with everyone. I want to see where their baseline is and what they're doing. But with you, I was like, damn, I'm actually impressed. This old man is really doing well, and I'm really, really proud of his endurance that he's built up. And then it was like, well, let me see what I can do with him. So let me see how hard I can push him, obviously without injuring you
Right.
and causing too much destruction and chaos. You are retired, so you've straight up told me I have the flexibility. I can do as much as you want, as little as you want. um but also I also know like you do a lot of hiking, you walk your dog a ton, so I wanted to also keep that into mind while adding in a little bit of speed work and really testing your limits. So the the grand scheme of thing is always taking it safe, and with any athlete you approach them, at least I do, I approach them in that like slower, let me see what they can do. It doesn't matter the age to me.
Right.
You know what I mean? And one big thing, and you are one of them, and I actually have another older athlete, a female, and she's very much the same way, is I want to see like how bad they want it. Are they consistent? Do they hold strong throughout the entire length of the training session? Are they giving me excuses? Do they really have a drive? It sounds horrible, but we all can talk the talk, but can people actually do the work that they need to? And with you, that was consistent. All the proof was there, so I knew I could push you quite a bit.
Yeah, and I enjoy the process, and some of it is that I am retired. I do have the time. I can recover. I can take the time to recover for another big effort coming up. But yeah, I enjoy the process, and I think you have to like the training, But I'll tell you what, when Sunday night rolls around and I look at let's see what old Psycho Liz has got. Let me just see yeah, what this crazy biatch is got me going this next week, and but it was always manageable, and we communicated well. And if I needed some flexibility, you were way good with it. So yeah, it
Oh yeah.
was it was it was great, And I definitely got stronger.
Yeah, yeah. So a question I have for you, how was that as an older gentleman approaching getting a coach, knowing I was younger? What were your thoughts of like, is this going to work out? Am I going to learn anything? And not to say anything about age or gender, it's just more or less like, what's this young little shit going to help me with? You know what I mean?
No, no, I absolutely trusted it. I know you were, I knew you were accredited, and then once I saw the workouts, I saw how consistent they were. Rest days built in, of course, but there'd be strength training. And then when those frickin' intervals started, oh my God, uh, it was a love-hate relationship because, um, I when they first started, they were tough, but I immediately saw results. Immediately within like my next run, I would see improvement in my miles, or we all have our same courses that we run all the time, and I live in northwest New Mexico at about 5,300 feet, so we have a little vert around, and I have the same old hills I run all the time, and just being able to just cruise up those, just getting more effortless and faster, and where in the beginning I'd be, halfway up and I'd be walking, whereas, later on that was yeah, you just were strong enough that you didn't have to, and even got faster even. So yeah, that was great. But so as far as having doubts in you, no, no. I once I saw the structure, I go, okay, yeah, and the consistency, the consistency,
Oh yeah.
and yeah, it was pretty straightforward formula, 80, the old rule of 80/20, 80% you're going at, a two or a three, and then a little bit more speed work, and then of course a long run or two each week, and then you gradually built my time on feet up, which I knew you would,
Mhm.
So no,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
there was no doubt. I was way good.
Awesome, awesome, and that's good to hear. You never know, and I know as like someone who did all of my research and did my deep dive into who I picked for my coach. We all in approach things a little differently. So I know some people are like, "Oh, I'm just gonna find out and see how they do, and then if I don't like it, I'll stop." Or like, myself, I did all of the research and then was like, "Yeah, that's gonna be my guy." Um, and it's just nice to hear someone else's point of view and how they approached it. So once you started working with me, your first race was a race that you've already raced before. Actually, both races you've
Right.
already
Yeah,
raced
I kind of
before.
repeated the whole thing just because, I have I have other, as you know, I have quite a few other interests other than running all the time, and so yeah, having that 50K in mid-March before the 125 in early May, it works out good as a uh, as a training run, and as because it's got a shitload of vert in it. It's got
Mhm.
50K, it's got 7,300 vert in it, so it's there's a lot of climbing.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and you love the climbing, which I love as well. I don't have it here where I am, but you and we mentioned this before. Like you do a lot of hiking, you do a lot of walks with your dogs, and you go out and look for giant antlers, which is freaking insane. I'll never forget the one that you showed me a picture of. It was ginormous.
Yeah, so we live in an area where the deer winter here. In other words, they pile into our area out of Colorado when the snow gets deep in Colorado, and then as we know, elk and deer, their antlers fall off in the spring. We go out there looking for them. So yeah, the dog and I, and it's not it's hiking with 20 25 pounds and not on trails. It's bushwhacking and rucking at the same time. So yeah, I do a lot of that. I mean, I've done it for 40 years.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
and that's good cross training. So
For sure.
you do that on your days off or on my rest days. And I got to tell you, I didn't do it as much this year because you'd run my you know what in the dirt. Or I'd go ice fishing, but dragging around a full ice sled for a mile or so is also taxing on the legs. So yeah, it my other interests help. I think they help with conditioning.
Yeah, so I have to ask. I don't think I've ever asked you this. I can see in your background you love Cameron Haynes. I do as well. I've read both of his books, and but you're a hunter. You're an avid hunter. Did you get into running because of your passion for hunting, or was it the other way around, or how
Other
that
way
kind of worked?
around. Yeah. Yeah,
Okay,
I
okay.
started
So
bow
it's
hunting when I was 13. That was back in the 1900s, Liz, just so you know. And and um yeah, and then I started. I mean, I did cross country in high school, and I did some other running things. I don't think I told you. Me and five other guys ran a nonstop relay across the whole state of Iowa when I was 17. There were six of us. We
oh,
ran from the furthest point east to the furthest point west. It's like 475 miles, and we each ran a 5 mile shift, and then you'd wait for five shifts. So you're running 5 miles about every three hours, and it took
wow.
us about 48 hours or so, and we did it for a charity for the March of Dimes. That was back when I was between my junior and senior years, yeah. And then I
That's incredible.
ran back in the day when I lived in Denver. They had the world's highest road race at the time was up in Mount Evans, and you start at 10:3 and go to 14:4, all on a paved road. And I did that a couple times. It was barely over a half marathon, but at high elevation. high
Yeah.
elevation. So yeah, my miles. That was back when I was a lot younger, of course. But my miles down at Denver's elevation would be, I'd be in the low sevens, and managed to go up the elevation. It just not quite double, but close, just
Oh yeah.
anyway, so yeah, I did, and I've always ran a little bit, just to maintain, especially coming into the late summer and fall hunting seasons. You just have to if you want to be efficient in the mountains, So,
Oh yeah, yeah.
but
And I
I'm
love that. I
talking,
think
2, 3, 4 miles,
Mhm.
nothing
Yeah.
nothing like ultra training or ultra distances.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I do love the aspect of like you have such a passion for hunting and we've chatted about it so much and you've incorporated running and now you have this passion for running. So now your whole life is pretty much hunting, then running, then hunting, then running, then hunting and running. And so you're prepping for both of them.
Yeah, yeah, a lot of fishing mixed in, and do
Yeah.
some travel. I'm at the stage of my life where I'm lucky. I'm have the means and the freedom to do a little traveling, and yeah, you've caught me at a fun time in my life when it's
Yeah.
just balls to the walls, just go 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 go
Yes.
go. So
Yeah. And you really are doing the things you love too, which is awesome. It's not like I don't think I've ever heard you complain about anything. Maybe other than like this training fucking sucks. But I know it's helping me. But it's never
oh
been, you're hey, I have this fishing thing. Can we adjust training a little bit? And absolutely, of
yeah,
course,
yeah, no,
and then
I wouldn't miss the training. I would just have to slide it
yep.
over a day,
Yes. Yep.
and
No, you were adamant. I even remember a few times being like, "Hey, like we can skip this run if it's going to affect it." You're absolutely not. Let's try to do it this way and this way, or I can do this. Can you adjust training? And you always made
and
it
I,
work.
and I think that's one of the major things I would tell someone if they're on the fence about hiring a coach is that um, it was easy. It was easy. Just communicate with them, the
Mhm.
communication lines are open. Just communicate with them, and they'll work with you, Uh,
Oh
but
yeah.
on the other hand, if you're on the fence, don't waste these people's time, you know. Be
Yeah.
serious. Don't
Mhm.
If you're only going to do 60% of the workouts, then what are we doing, I mean,
What are
you
we
got
doing?
to
I
you got to
agree.
attack, 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 because otherwise on race day, if you haven't done your homework, you're not going to be very happy, You know
Oh,
what
for
what's the
sure,
old
for
saying?
sure.
You won't rise to the occasion, you'll fall to your level of preparation or something like, I don't know,
Yep.
something like that. So,
Yeah, no, yes, exactly. And it's true. And you rose all the way this year with us working together. Let's blow some more steam. Okay.
absolutely.
So
Let her rip.
this year, this year, you not only went out and attacked two races that you've already ran, but you crushed both races both times
With your help.
by hour. Yeah, yeah. We don't have to go there. You put in all of the work. I just guided you. You put in 100% effort. You put in 100% of the consistency training. You strength trained. You did so much, and it really, really paid off for you. So I'm sure you know the exact
I
times. So can you give me the exact times?
so on the Crown King, which is a 50K. Last year I was 10. I got my notes here. Last year I was 10:25, and this year I was 9:43. So what is that? 17 and 25. What is that? 43 minutes or something like that.
Yeah,
And
just
and, and
just under
it's funny
45
because
minutes.
I asked you, what do you think, Coach? Can I cut an hour off? And he goes, I would say between 40 and 50 minutes, something like that. And you were just right on, dead nuts, right on the money, And it's like,
Yeah,
huh,
yeah. I get lucky. I get lucky.
yeah. And we'll get into it, but yeah, you did the same thing for the 125 too. Yeah. I think you'll cut. Originally, I had a goal of cutting 10 hours off of the
hmm
125 from the previous year. In the previous year, I was at 61:39, something like that, 61 and some
hmm
change. And I had an aggressive goal of cutting 10 hours off. Didn't quite make that. I was last year 61 and 39, and this year was 51. I'm sorry, 55:32,
Yep.
55:32. So about 5.5 hours or so. Which
Yeah.
I was pleased. All in all, I mean, I had held the 10 improving by 10 hours through Fort Tuthill, which is about mile 100, but the
Yeah.
wheels were definitely starting to come off. And I don't know if you know this, Liz, but after you got 100 miles under your belt and you're 66, you ain't going to get no faster in the next 25 miles, right? That's just not happening. And so, yeah, when we'll talk about the race, I'm sure, but yeah, those were my goals, and still very, very pleased to shave that time off with, again, with your help, Um,
Yeah. You
go ahead.
you did amazing. I will never forget watching you on the dot because I had a few people running, Jenny being one of them, which funny enough, we found out Jenny actually helped you in Sedona the first year.
Yep.
And it just so happened that I was coaching both of you. She's amazing as
She's
well.
amazing, man. Oh, love her.
Yes, yes. And I'm dot watching the crap out of you two, and you two were playing cat and mouse forever.
Yeah.
And then you were ahead, she was ahead, and it was so cool to watch. And then hearing all the stories too about you guys running into each other and you being mad or her being mad and like running through and not saying hi to the other one and being worried, but at the end of the day, like we all love each other, which is
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
Uh,
Well, I think I don't remember where it was. She passed me just before Sedona, which is mile 37.
mhm.
And it was like, oh, great to see you, and I was ready to, give her a hug and all that. And she was head down all business. And she told me later she was just mad. Not at me. She was mad. She had blisters. She was pissed. And she had told me later, she goes, no, I was just head down. I was just mad. And I just wanted to, get to Sedona and get a little, maybe get some rest and recoup and get her feet taken care of and stuff. And
Yeah, yeah.
but yeah, she's awesome. She signed up for the 250 next year, and there's no doubt she'll run a smart race. She'll crush it.
Oh yeah,
She'll
yeah,
crush it.
yeah. I'm very excited for her.
Yeah.
And getting into a little bit on Sedona. So, preparation, we trained, we used the 50K. You did a bunch of volume, and not only in running, we did have you doing hiking in there as well. But I think from what I understand, you did a lot more running this year compared to any year previously, correct?
Definitely, definitely. And those long runs, maybe do a 3 hour on 3 or 3.5 hour on Thursday, and then do my long run on Saturday, 5 or 6 hours, on kind of tired legs. And yeah, it was just definitely didn't do that last year. Those not quite back to back efforts, but still you're just conditioning those legs to what fatigue feels like, and you just got to be really used to that what that feels like, what that
Hmm.
feels like, and
Yeah.
and and this next year, I mean, it looks like I'm going to get in this year. Uh, so next year, I'm sure we'll get after that again, and even probably do some more volume.
Oh yeah, yeah. Some longer long runs, maybe a little more speed work. All the
Yeah.
torturing to gym is possible.
Yeah. Well, I got to tell you, when I would be done with some of those workouts, because I do the intervals, and then I come home and do the strength training, which I would have to manually get on the computer, and man, I'm smacked. There you go, bitch. What do you think of that?
I can only imagine what was going through your head.
And when I'm out running, I don't know if people know this, but when you have a coach, or at least with Everyday Ultra, with my Garmin watch, this one sees everything, right? She sees
Everything.
she sees she can tell if you're walking. She can tell your cadence, your pace, how much you friggin' sleep.
Mm.
She's creeping on you bad. So there's no hiding. There's no hiding, you
Yeah.
know. But it also in the back of my mind, you know, I'd be out running and people would honk and they'd want to talk and I can't talk. Liz is watching me. I gotta go. Call me later.
Oh, I
Uh,
love it. I
yeah,
love it. But it's true. I literally am always creeping, and you never disappointed. You always were super super tried and true to all of your training, which was awesome. And getting into Sedona, how did you feel compared to the year previous to this year going in? Having a coach, not saying anything about me, but how did you feel going in for your second year for Sedona?
last year, right before the race, you know, I got my tracker and you know, getting ready to go, say within 10 minutes of starting. I couldn't, I was emotional. I was like, that was a big, scary goal. I went from my first ultra was 38 miles. Well, then I did that 50K. Now I'm going all the way to 125. That's a big jump, you know. And so that was a big, scary
Mhm.
goal. So I couldn't even hardly make complete sentences, you know. And then this year, I was because you know I was much more relaxed. I had the course knowledge. I'd done a bunch of training, um, and I was quietly confident. It was all business. Just be smart. You know, it's a long ways. One of my main goals, and we talked about this in training, was be much more efficient at aid stations. You know, I
Mhm.
lost a ton of time last year, you know, screwing the pooch at aid stations, and you just can't do that. You know, you gotta get in, take care of yourself, and get rolling. Now there are times when you gotta sleep. I had to sleep, you know, and that's
Mhm.
definitely my weakness right now. And we'll talk about that is my sleep. But no, starting of the race, no, I was let's fucking go, you know.
Yeah, yeah. The confidence was there. I could definitely tell as we chatted, like the silent confidence of in yourself was very, very evident for me, which is awesome to see as a coach because it is hard. Sometimes you do encounter people that are very intimidated. I can only imagine going from, a 50K all the way up to a 125. A 50K to 100 is a huge jump. A 50K to a 125 is even
Yeah,
bigger. And, having you the second time around where you did have the course knowledge, you were already confident, and then once we hit all of the training, seeing the confidence in you, you were determined, and I was super excited for you to go out there and kind of tackle it. So let's dive into the actual course and how things kind of went for you. I'll let you kind of go and explain what you want with throughout each area and each section of it, and if I have questions that I think are good, I'll chime in.
sure. First, I want just tell you real quick about my crew. So it was a
Yeah.
father and son. The dad is a fishing and hunting buddy of mine. Didn't know anything about ultras, nothing. And I'd kind of gone over what, you know, how to prep when I come into an aid station and charging stuff and fluids and getting food, socks, you know, all that stuff. And then Corey was going to pace me um, for a 28-mile stretch coming into Fort Tuthill. And then if he had the legs, he was going to pace me the last 12 miles to the finish line. And he was very interested in the whole thing because he wanted to do the 125 in 26. And as I said earlier, he's officially signed up. Um, so that was my crew. They took such good care of me. I just can't say enough about them. And anyway, so took off, and you know, you you want to be steady. You don't do anything crazy. I eat the same thing I eat every other day: eggs, sweet potatoes, piece of toast, coffee, and then of course hydrate like a mofo before the
Mhm.
race. And then one thing that you emphasized in training, you always wanted on my long runs, what are you eating? What are you drinking? What are you eating? You know, you wanted me to know and what you're comfortable, how many calories you know, you need to be getting so many calories in, and it's definitely something I had to work on because yeah, I'm just not used to that, but it absolutely helps. And last year I kind of relied on too much of the aid station food. And but there were some big stretches, I think there was an 18-mile stretch and a 23-mile stretch. Those are long stretches, but before uh, you get some serious nutrition. So learning about or using the gels and the blocks, bars, whatever, just waffles, just get it in, get some calories down, and of course a lot of fluid calories with Tailwind. And I was on Gnarly last year. I think Gnarly was a race sponsor, so that's what I was drinking. That's what they had at the aid stations. Um, yeah. Anyway, yeah, went through the first two aid stations. The first aid station, I didn't sit down. I just grabbed something to eat and kept filled my bottles and kept going. That was at like 13, and no, I was at 10. Sorry, got it right here. And then at Deer Pass, I think I sat down at Deer Pass for maybe 7 or 8 minutes, just to eat.
Mhm.
I don't remember what I ate, watermelon, burritos. I remember I grabbed two peanut butter sandwiches and stuck them in my pocket and just get going, and
Mhm.
feel good, feel good. I'm running quite a bit. You know how it is. You run the flats and you walk the hills. You run the flats, you run the downhills, and you know. Now, when I say run, well, I'm 66, so it's a social security shuffle for me, but just keep moving, and
Mhm.
um, then once I started getting towards Sedona, and of course the scenery is just off the charts. Sedona just keeps getting prettier and prettier, and bigger in your windshield. And you finally hit the water station on the edge of town before you go around the airport. Uh, those ladies there were awesome. They had a lot of ice. I One thing I'm going to definitely get before next year is an ice bandana. I put some ice in
Mhm.
my hat, but an ice bandana would have lasted longer. And it's the Verde Valley there from Cottonwood to Sedona is low, and it was probably in the 80s. Although it was quite a bit, as everyone knows who watched the race last year, it was quite a bit cooler this year than in years past. But still, that Wednesday it heated up pretty good. We got lucky and didn't have to deal with any of the mud that the 250 people had to put up with. So we really got lucky there. And so yeah, I hit the water and then came into Sedona. I was communicating with Gary and Corey, and they were saying that parking was a nightmare, and they had to haul stuff a long ways. Um uh and they I was going to get there in about 12 hours. So we started at 7, and yeah, I got in there right at 7. Took about an hour break, socks, lube, might have changed running shorts. I don't remember, but ate a lot. Ate a lot of food because there's a big climb right after that. You're going to do the Hangover Trail and then climb all the. If anybody's been to Sedona, huge red rock bluffs, and you got to climb out of there and get up on the Coconino Plateau, and it gets much colder. Plus, it was going to be nighttime when I got up there, so um, yeah, things were going great. No blisters. Felt good. And it had that big climb coming. The Hangover Trail was um, I was lucky. I had a convention that I went to in early April in Phoenix, and so when I came back through Sedona, I scouted out the Hangover Trail in the daylight. I
Mhm.
ran it, hiked it, and ran it, and man, I'm glad I did because it's because of the slick rock and the steepness, the markings. There's nowhere to hang a marker, right? There's nowhere to hang a
Mhm.
marker, so the markings were pretty. You kind of had to know where you were going, and I'm really glad I scouted that out because I was there at I don't know 10:30 at night, 11 o'clock at night, right in there, and so it helped that I knew that. And anyway, got through there, and then you had a big climb up to that water drop, and you're on a 2 track, and it's just never ending, a couple thousand feet, and hit the water drop. And when you get up there, it's cold. I mean, I had kind of mitten gloves on, I had leggings on, puffy jacket, stocking cap. I mean, it was in the 30s, wind's blowing a little
Wow.
bit, and you're just fighting your way to let's see, Foxborough. Foxborough was at mile 52, and at 52, in the 125 is where you have to take the shuttle or your team take because of the spotted owl, the endangered spotted owls that are nesting. We had to
Mhm.
take we had to do a little drive where they stop your time, and your team or the shuttle takes you over to the next one, which is Crystal. And so I got in there, ate a bunch, took a little break, but no, you know, I don't know, 20 minutes maybe, and then
Mhm.
my team drove me over to Crystal, and it was funny. Joe Corcione and was helping his wife Lexi. She was getting out just ahead of me, and I had the pleasure of meeting Joe right before at the start line. The first time I ever met him.
Mm.
He's quite a bit taller than I thought, and he's
Oh
just
yeah.
just oozing with energy, and yeah, that was a treat to get to meet him. Then of course I saw him here again in the middle of the night with Lexi, and I don't know. I got a story about Lexi here in a little bit, but I don't know Lexi. She, attractive blonde lady, looked like a sweetheart, and she took off ahead of me, and I took off, and then it was a short stretch, 7 miles to Munns, and at Munns was at
Mm.
mile 59.6, 60 miles, and I was going to come in right at 24 hours, so 6:30 or 7 o'clock. I had 60 miles in. I was ecstatic with that that I had 60 miles in, almost halfway, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
I was on pace, but I definitely needed to sleep. And Liz, that's definitely my weakness, is because when you're doing these races, you are just on point. You're either uh, worried about your footing and your time and your pace, salt tabs. You just go, go, go. You're just concentrating on something, and then to just shut down and try to sleep, I just struggle with that.
Mhm.
So I rested about, I don't know, hour and a half. I don't, your hips are achy, and I don't think I slept. If I don't, maybe I did. I don't know. I for sure felt better when I took off, but
Mhm.
but um, I just didn't feel, you know how it is. Even if you had got 10 minutes, would be huge, and it just didn't happen. So I got up and had some pancakes and some coffee and a whole bunch of food. Had the next. It was a pretty good stretch. 59. It was 12 to the pacer swap, and that's where Corey was going to jump in.
Mhm.
So now it's daylight, though. You feel better, you got a bunch of food, and you're cruising along. Can't wait to pick up Corey. Did see Jenny at Munns, and she was the same thing. She tried to get some sleep, and then I saw her again at the pacer swap. She was taking a dirt nap, and Corey and I took off, and Corey knew that I wanted to push time wise, right?
Mhm.
I wanted to be on that 10, we knew what we needed to do to beat under 10 hours. And I'm power hiking at this time. And I'm trying to keep my miles to, 19 or 20 minutes. And of course, I've had the poles out since mile 30.
Mhm.
Love my sticks, man. They really help when you're an old guy, and well, everybody probably, but picked up Corey, and we're going and going, and my yeah, the wheels started to come off a little bit around mile 84. My check engine light was flashing hard. I mean hard, like I don't mean just a low spot. I mean like, oh, fuck, I gotta sit down. And because I mean, I tell Corey, all right, that last one was, 20 minutes and 13 seconds, right on. And then the next one, hey, that was 19, whatever. And then we'd hit a little rocky uphill. Well, that one's 22, let's go, and so it was just push, 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 push. Well, anyway, at about 84, the pushing was over. And I had to just stop. There was an aid station like with a mile and a half, but you can't rest at an aid station. It's loud.
Hmm.
People are cheering, and I told Corey. So anyway, I took about a 10 or 12 minute dirt rest. Certainly didn't sleep, but I just rested, and then it's like shit, just got to get going, and
Hmm.
so we came into the aid station and uh, had another great big cheeseburger. One thing I got to say about Aravaipa, they have awesome food. They have
Yeah.
awesome food, and a lot of it. So had a big meal, and here's a story I want to tell you about. Well, Joe's wife, Lexi. So again, I just barely sort of met her in the dark there a few hours ago, and she was being seen by a medic. She was having some knee pain. I thought, oh man, that sucks. So we ate, and we were maybe there, I don't know, 20, 25 minutes. And I was feeling better just because I got off my feet and got some food. And then we started to take off. Well, Lexi and her pacer were starting too. And I just came up, hey Lexi, hey Jim, we met at Crystal. She goes, hey, I go, you're having a little rough stretch, huh? She goes, yeah. And she was limping bad, right? Limping bad. She goes, yeah, my knee's really, really getting me. But then she goes, but I fucking did the training and I'm fucking finishing this thing. She goes, I don't care if it takes me all 75 fucking hours. And I go, huh, yeah, that's Joe's wife. It was awesome. And we
I
basically
love it.
finished together. So here,
Oh, that's
here she
awesome.
is, obviously she's younger, but she's got a knee that's bothering her. And we were within, I think we were within, I don't know, half an hour of finishing at the same time. So that was impressive. She was, because I didn't know her. She was just this young blonde lady, right? Joe's wife. But yeah, I saw the fire in her there. That was cool. That was cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But anyway, that stretch. So that was 80. Let me check my notes. Yeah, Homestead was 85. So the next one was a big aid station at Fort Tuthill, which is mile 100. Anyway, that 15-mile stretch was tough. I hit that low spot, and I don't think it was nutrition. I don't think it was hydrate. It was just lack of sleep. I'm coming up on
Mhm.
40 hours of movement. Well, gonna be 41 hours of movement, and my batteries were getting super low. And thank God for Corey, because I was just looking at his heels, and we're just
Mhm.
going and going and going, and it just never, how it is. It never frickin' is gonna end. It's like, oh my God. I had this knot in between my shoulders from pushing on my poles, and it just, and I know the course, right? And I think I can remember how it's going to come in, and it just kept swinging around, and never coming into Fort Tuthill, and finally, finally we got there, and Gary was there. He goes, hey, how's it going? I think I remember. He goes, how you feeling? I go, I feel like a 5-gallon bucket of hammered cat assholes. That's how I feel. And the guy that was standing there writing down our numbers, he goes, huh, never heard that one before. And, and, and I didn't want to eat. I just wanted to lay down. I just wanted to
Mhm.
lay down. So, took a pretty long rest there, probably knocking on too long. It was too long. It was probably 3 hours. So I would think I was still on pace for or just over the pace for the 10 hours.
Mhm.
Um, but I definitely lost ground there. And and like I said earlier, you ain't gonna get any faster. That last I had 25 more miles to go.
Hmm.
So yeah, I got up at about 4 in the morning or so, 4:30. I don't remember. Went in to ate a bunch of food, took care of myself, changed clothes. Um, but it's you got 25 miles to go, and what people say, and you've seen this because you've crewed a bunch, is what's amazing about ultras is that when you see somebody coming in and they're like a hammered dog turd coming into an aid station, right? And then an hour later they rise up and stagger out of the aid station, and you get your muscles moving, you get warmed up. The next thing you know, you're jogging. It's it,
Hmm.
it's an it's an amazing thing to observe. And anyway, so yeah, I got going. Oh, I did run a little name drop here. I ran into West Plate at the who I'm a fan of. He was there uh, uh, eating and prepping for the rest of his race, and of course he did the Monster 300 5 weeks before that, and he
Yeah.
recognized me
Yeah.
and said hi, and he was tired, of course, and but it was good to see him. And um, um, how you doing, buddy? And he goes, well, I did. Yeah, I don't know. He said something about I'd be doing a lot better if I hadn't run 300 miles 4 weeks ago, or whatever. But anyway, he's an animal. He's a friggin' animal,
Yes. I have to say, he literally just added me on social media, and I like low key fangirled, was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So
Well,
he is awesome. If you don't know him, I can't think of what's his YouTube channel called? Do you know off the top of your head?
yeah, it's mid-pack life. Yeah, mid-pack
Midpack.
life. Yeah,
Yep. Yeah.
yeah.
Go check him out on YouTube. He makes amazing,
Gr
amazing
Yeah,
videos. Yeah.
yeah. And I told him last year when I ran into him at Dead Horse that he was one of the main reasons that his videos make it look possible, and make it look possible for an average. And I remember he told me last year, he said, Jim, you got tons of this, you got lots of time. And that's one thing we probably should mention about the 125. The reason that I chose it was because it does have a very generous cutoff. It has a
Hmm.
75-hour cutoff, which is a shitload of time.
Yeah.
And that's why I chose it to
Mhm.
as an older runner. Anyway, yeah, so took off from there. Now, it's cold, man, it's cold. But took off from there, and I got 13 miles to an aid station, and I actually started jogging out there. Here's a typical scenario. You get to a point where everyone talks about the highs and lows of ultras. Well, here I am. I'm kind of hitting a little high, right? It's like, wow. And I got to take my jacket off and put stuff away, and I'm starting to shuffle along. And then my trekking pole breaks. I didn't step on it. I don't know what happened. It just broke. It's like, oh, well, that kind of blows. So now I'm, you know, one trekking pole. What do? You just keep going, and
Yeah.
but I was kind of shuffling along there, not doing, definitely I was knocking into the 18 mile or 18 minutes a mile, which at the time was fast.
Hmm.
Um, there is a little bit of climbing on that last 25, and then you drop in. You circle around Flagstaff, and then you drop into town to catch this aid station. And I just remember how hot it was in town, coming off the concrete and the asphalt. And uh, yeah, I remember one of the citizens had put a water station out for us. Said, "Hey, runners, take a bottle of water," which is super cool, and was appreciated at that time. But yeah, I got into that aid station. I called the guys and said, "Hey, bring my backup pole." And yeah, you're at the last aid station. I'm going to finish unless I roll an ankle
Hmm.
or I'm going to finish.
Hmm.
So I took a little extra time and ate again, and Um, Probably asked where Jenny was then. She was ahead of me. I think she was ahead of me by maybe an hour or so, which I was tickled for her. I really wanted her to have a great race. And uh, yeah, got going, and it was warm. But man, Liz, my energy levels were, man, they were, especially like the last 3 or 4 miles. And that's when you texted me, or you messaged me, of course.
Hmm.
And I was hurting, like hurting, and um, yeah, just like it was just all catching up to me, and but eventually you get within 3 or 4 miles, and then the emotions kind of come out. I lost my dad back in December. You start thinking about stuff like that, and yeah, the old tears come pretty easy. But there was another guy probably 2 miles ago, and he was bawling like a baby. He was just overwhelmed because he had failed the year before. He had tapped out at the 40-mile mark at Sedona, and he was just so happy, and I just got through having a little emotional time myself, but you're just so close. And then I also got to mention with Aravaipa and the live stream and the live tracking, that's just so much fun for your friends and family. Well, and creepers like you. And
Yeah.
no, it is. It really makes it interesting for them because they can kind of check on you, then they go work a whole shift or they go to sleep and they wake up and you're still freaking running.
Oh, yeah.
And it really it includes them and uh, really makes it interesting. And then of course they're sending me messages and stuff, which is so helpful. All messages like the one you gave me, and well, you gave me several. You gave me some the night before, right before we took off, during the run. So, and they're just so appreciated.
Hmm.
Yeah, it about make you emotional out there when you there's some people in my life, Facebook friends, I never hear anything from them ever, 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 ever. But during race day, yeah, they're all about it. So
Hmm.
that's pretty
Hmm.
cool. And I really appreciate Aravaipa and the job they do and to make that possible because I know that's not an easy thing to pull off.
Yeah. And I swear that's why and how they're so big and they're well known is like you mentioned, I have friends that aren't really runners and I have never even ran Cocodona or Sedona and they're like, "Hey, you can literally like track people." And I'm like, "Yeah, like you can like you said, go creep them for a little while. You can watch the live stream on YouTube. You can go to sleep. You can wake up, go for a run, take a shower, creep on them, and they're still going, and
Yeah, people are
it's so
fascinated by
cool.
it. They're
Oh
fascinated
yeah.
by it. They're like, first of all, how do you do it? First of all, why would you do it? And then, but yeah, they kind of sucks them in, and they start hearing some of the other stories, especially the 250 people, that are um, that are doing it, and um, yeah, so it makes it a really neat event. Anyway, yeah. Anyway, coming into the finish line, I mean, I am, I am done. I told Corey. Corey was waiting for me at about the 1 mile mark, and I told Corey, I said, I'm gonna pass out. We're at a stoplight or whatever, and I'm like so depleted. I'm gonna pass out. I
Hmm.
just I just wanted to finish so bad, and then of course you get closer to the famous Birch Street corner, and then now you're within a couple, 2 or 3 blocks, and
Hmm.
there's so many positive people cheering you on, and then yeah, you turn that corner and you hit the finish line, and it's all worth it. It's such an amazing experience. Um, Ultras they will tear you down to expose your weaknesses and just strip you down to really see what you got, and I don't know, it's really attractive to get to that point because it takes so much work and effort to get to that point. Let's see where that is, and I tell you what, I was close. I was I needed some sleep, I
Yeah.
needed some sleep.
Yeah.
But so tickled to finish, and my crew was awesome. Took such good care of me, and I just and appreciate you so much for helping me get to that finish line, and as an older guy, it feels really good. You have friends, they're having knee replacements and they're having this and that, and I'm just blessed, that I that
Mhm.
I that I can do this. I have I have a little bit of durability. So far, I haven't had any, you know, injuries. So
Mhm.
yeah, I've just been lucky. Just been lucky.
Yeah. And also, you've built that luck. Like you've been super consistent, you've done all the work. And then I hate to say this, but instead of getting hip replacements or knee replacements, you're out there getting these crazy belt buckles and,
Yeah.
adding a collection of huge accomplishments and, your drive and determination to keep moving, proving that age is just a number and that you're out there doing something that literally is stripping you down to almost nothing and then
Oh,
continuously putting one step in front of the other and getting across that finish line. It's a huge accomplishment, not only for, the Sedona 125, but also the 50K you did earlier that year and every single training run that you put in to get yourself ready for that race.
I remember, Liz, to pound a little sunshine up your butt again. I remember some workouts that I did where I'd look at my watch and I'd go, holy shit. And I'd like be in the last mile of a 5 mile training run. It's like, I would just be amazed because you always go by hours, not by miles, right? You go by
Yep,
hours.
yep,
But
yep.
I would see how many miles I did in that time. And I would just, I'd be adding a mile and a half, 2 miles in that time, and just to see that improvement. I was telling Cindy when I got home, and I said, man, I was crying in the last hour, and she doesn't quite grasp it, but to see that improvement is just so um, rewarding. It's just
For
so
sure.
just so rewarding to see.
Yeah, and hearing that is awesome too because I remember hearing you tell me when we first started working together, like I'm an old geezer, I'm out here having a good time. Like speed's not important to me, and I'm like, no, 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 I get that. And the first thing I always tell everyone, I'm an ultra runner. I like the distance. I don't like the speed. I hate speed work as well, but it is very important, and it just goes to show that even an old geezer like you, if you put in a little more effort and a little more speed, you can make huge improvements in your running economy and just your overall fitness, which is awesome.
Yeah, I just I don't know. It does. It changes you. I don't know how to describe it, but it makes you feel like you can do anything. When
Mhm.
they can't take finishes away from you. They can't take finishes away from you, and yeah, it feels good. It feels good, and it's addicting. Now,
Oh,
do I want to run five races a year? No, I have too many other interests.
yeah.
But but the last 3 springs. So I've done 5 ultras. The last 3 spring, well, all, not springs, but winter and spring. I'm training all winter, all spring. That's just how my
Mhm.
year has been going, and it works out good for me. It gives me some goals to shoot for, and um, yeah, I like that. I like that. I like the discipline of it. I like the discipline of it.
Mhm.
So yeah, I was so pleased with hiring a coach. Absolutely wouldn't hesitate to do. Oh, I will do it again. We've already talked about that. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. We've
Yes,
already.
yes. And let's just give a little explanation, maybe more or less too. So you mentioned like you train all winter, all spring, but during the the summer and the fall, like that is when you're doing your other passion, which is hunting, fishing, and
Yep.
you're still active. It's different. But you are no longer running during this. You're out there doing multiple day hikes, also probably enjoying the nature a little less stressful in the sense of you're not out there running in it. You're,
Right.
probably, I'm assuming you're doing tons of hiking and stuff still. And then when you come back into running, like I know this because we literally just talked about it off camera, but you'd mentioned like you're just now getting back into running. You're going to take the next few weeks and, kind of reintroduce running, get back into the groove. You
Exactly. Yep.
still have a few more a few more hunting things to go on, but then you switch and you're full force running again,
Right.
correct?
Yeah. About mid-November, I got a couple of Midwestern deer hunts coming up, and those are as anti ultra training as it gets. It's just sitting on your ass eating ding dongs. It's a waiting game. So I want to have a little bit of fitness going in. And I'm not terrible. I did. I think in the last 2 weeks I've run 7 times. I think something like that.
That's awesome.
Um, about every other day. And
Mm-hmm.
doing a little bit of lifting. But yeah, just trying to maintain and so when I come out of those couple weeks of deer hunting, that I'm not you know oinking it too bad.
Yeah, yeah. But I love it because it just shows that there can be balance. Because I feel like, and I am literally one of them, that my whole life is obsessed with running. I run as much as possible all the time, year round. And we all talk about off season. And I literally have just had this conversation with Joe because he's about to enter off season. He's like, I need it. I'm so burnt out. And I know is kind of talked about, but I feel like it's not really talked about too. And you're like a prime example of showing people that like you are very determined, very serious about running. You've had huge success when you hired a coach and all of that, but also like you have the balance of you have another passion and or other things in life that you do, so it's not all running all the time.
Yeah, and again, as an older athlete, I think that downtime is good. Let your body recoup. Let try to keep any little niggles, any little injuries at bay. And I've been blessed with some durability, and other than the first year I had some foot swelling because I didn't have a pair of shoes that was bigger. Well, this year I did. I had
Mhm.
a pair of shoes that was a full size bigger that I put on after mile 40, and it worked. It was great. I did 125 miles, no blisters. I used toe socks for the first time.
Mhm.
Game changer for me. I didn't have any blisters. So I do pre-tape my feet a little bit on the balls of my feet and my heel, but yeah, no toe blisters, which was unbelievable.
Super, super,
Yeah,
super rare.
yeah, yeah.
Which is awesome.
Probably because I'm
Yeah.
slow as a glacier, Liz, is what the thing is. But no, I think there was they had quite a bit of attrition in the race this year. I think there was 280 people that started, and I think 160 finished. Now I came in at 110, something like that.
Mhm. Yeah.
Um, that seems like a lot of attrition. I don't know. I don't know what the normal numbers are, but I think that's what I
Yeah, and
remember.
yeah, and I do remember hearing it was a lot higher than normal, and I want to say it was because of all the rain and all of the mud that everyone was dealing with. They were dealing with tons of blisters, tons of feet issues, and so you just proved everyone wrong when you went out there and had no blisters, no, nothing concerning of that aspect. So yeah, this year was a little different with all of the weather that they had in comparison to other years, and you still went out there and crushed it and had a huge PR, which is awesome.
Yeah, I don't know, Liz. Can we improve on that next year?
I mean, only if you fucking work.
That's
All
exactly
right, all right.
that's
But
exactly the answer I would expect from you. Yeah.
yes, yes, no. But on the serious note, yes, I think there's always room for improvement. And no matter what, there's putting a little bit more speed work. There's pushing your limits a little more. Yeah, you're getting older, but so what? Mentally, you are sharp as a button and you can come back with faster and better comebacks than a 33-year-old. So I say you have all of that going for you still. Plus, and I know you know this, but we can always cut off some time with aid station stops
Absolutely.
and trying to figure out your freaking sleep. I think if we could dial in your sleep, we would be, you would be, because I'm not out there running with you, you would be so much stronger towards the end.
Absolutely. If I would have
Yeah.
gotten 30 minutes at the 60-mile mark, yeah, because I know what being an old geezer, I know what power naps do for me now. I mean,
Oh yeah.
I can go pretty hard if I get a 20-minute little power nap. So because I get up stupid early every day anyway. But um um yeah, so just and you already know this, but I'm on the waiting list for the 125. I'm at number 8, so that's
Oh,
pretty much a shoe in, I think. And then, and
100%.
then, and I am signed up on the waiting list for the 250. I have moved a little bit. I've moved about 25 spots, but I'm still way down. I'm at 504, I think. Now,
Yeah.
last year they got all the way into 400 on the wait list, but
Wow.
I'm not. It's going to be the 125, unless something crazy
Yeah.
happens and they add some spots or whatever. I don't know, but someday maybe we'll look at the 250. You know.
For sure. I
Uh,
know we'd previously talked about it. It was something you were interested in. And then after the 125, you told me, I don't know if I really want to do this 250.
that's what everybody says.
Yes, I know. I'm pretty sure I was like, I want you to think on it for a few days.
Right.
Don't shoot it out just yet.
Yeah.
And then after a few days, you're like, I'm still a little on the fence.
Oh, I
But I think it's something you can do.
I absolutely drug my feet on sign up day. I mean, at full disclosure, I was still kind of beat up. The
Yeah. Oh
sign up
yeah.
this year was 10 days after I finished. It's on the 20th. And yeah, I drug my feet and it sold out in what 20 minutes or whatever and
Oh, so fast.
and then the 125 sold out. It's like, "Oh shit, I better get on the wait list." So
Mhm.
so I've moved up quite a bit and I think I'll get in, almost positive I'll get in, but yeah, we'll see. And
Heck yeah.
and either way, even come mid-November, I'm going to call you up and go, "Hey, coach, let's go. Let's get it started, and you'll yeah, you'll start your sadistic shit again.
Yeah, immediate. I'm already secretively planning everything I'm going to do and making sure it's a little worse than last year. So I'm super excited.
No, I agree with you. I think there's definitely some improvement. It'll it'll be a goal. Just to go after last year's time will be a goal, really will. I that was that was definitely my best race ever as far as effort. I mean,
Hmm.
people talk about you leave it all out on the field. Well, trust me, it was,
You left it.
I left it. I was done. I was done, so,
Yeah. Yeah.
but it's a crazy, extremely rewarding experience. And,
Yeah. No matter how depleting you get or how much at the end you're like, I'm never fucking doing that
oh yeah,
again.
oh yeah,
There is that little bit that's like, that was fucking awesome.
yeah. People, yeah, the ultra community is awesome. They really are.
Yeah.
Um, Cindy, I was about 3 miles to go and I already got through crying and all that. And, she had the nerve to ask me, "Are we going to do this again?" And of course, you know what the answer is. There's no effing way I'm doing this again. Well, you can't ask me
Yeah.
that then. I'm at
Hmm.
death's door, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, and here we are, talking about doing the 125 in 26. So,
Yeah.
so
Yeah. It's the weird, I'm never going to do this again. And then you kind of forget about it. And you're like, but I did get a really cool medal. And like at the end of the day, it was pretty awesome. So I guess I'm going to sign up again or do another one or something similar.
yeah, it is. It changes you. It really does. It changes you. I guess you just have to experience it, you know?
For sure, for sure. I say that to people all the time, especially when someone comes to me and they're like, "Well, I hate running." I'm like, "Yeah, because you're probably sprinting. Run slow. Like, be able to chat when you're running, and you'll learn to love it.
Right.
Especially when you can go to bed, wake up the next day, and your legs aren't completely burning or on fire, and you can continue to run day after day after day."
Oh, yeah. You go out there, you got the headphones on, you got some good music playing, sun shining. You know, you get 4, 5, 6, 7 miles in, you feel invincible, you know?
Oh
You
yeah,
just feel
for sure,
invincible. And then you have other days where Liz has been, you know, really, really working you hard, and you feel like a dog turd, and your legs are lead, and it's like, but yeah, but
yeah,
you just put in the work, you know, put in the work,
for
because
sure,
she's
for sure.
creeping
There's
on
a
you,
link.
man. She's creeping on you. You gotta you gotta do the work. So I appreciate you,
For
Liz, and I
sure.
just can't thank you enough for all the help you gave me, and um, yeah, I look forward to working with you again.
Yeah, I truly cannot wait. Been slowly but surely counting down the days till I knew Jim was about to come back. And I'm very excited to have you back. One thing I want to ask, and I don't typically ask this, but I feel like this is great for you, and it's a surprise. You know me, I always got to keep you on your toes. Um, but with getting a coach, and I'm not trying to, nothing to do with me
I already
personally,
got you up on
but
a pedestal already, like
I
up
don't
here.
I don't want the pedestal. I don't want the pedestal. But for you, what would you say to someone that is contemplating getting a coach? And like your honest opinion.
Yeah. So first of all, I would absolutely do it. Um, I was pleasantly surprised. It's pretty reasonable. And uh, there's just so accommodating, you know. They're gonna do they're gonna do an assessment of you in your first few, you know, and I think it's important to be honest with them during the interview process, right? You want to
Mhm.
make sure it's a good fit, but yeah, be honest with them. Say, yeah, no, I told you, hey, Liz, I'm a 12 minute a mile runner, you know. Hell, it
Mhm.
might be 12 and a half, you know. And on hills, I'm slower than that. And as soon as I started doing workouts, you could see, oh, yeah, that's about where he's at, you know. And
Mhm.
um, so yeah, just be honest with them. You know, ask them questions too. Don't, you know, they're not the only ones that get asked questions. You get asked questions too. So
Oh yeah.
yeah, make sure it's a good fit, and then commit to doing the work. And um, yeah, yeah, I wished I'd have done it 2 years ago when I first did the 125, and yeah, I couldn't recommend hiring a coach enough. It's been it's been a lot of fun, and it's been pleasant because we've gotten along so good, you know. And you
For
make it
sure.
fun. You make it fun, Liz, you know.
Good,
You
good. I'm
you
I'm glad
you're
because I want you to be miserable, but not like completely miserable.
right. Right. Yeah, it's a give and take, you know.
Yeah.
You throw the workouts out, and then I do them, and then I smash that keyboard when I can, because I want to see when you do all the workouts, everything's green on the screen. That's what you want to see. You want to
Yeah.
see all green, no red. And so yeah, that's that's my payback to the coach, you know. So but, but it makes it fun.
Okay. Yeah, no, definitely. Well, again, thank you so much, A, for choosing me to be your coach and allowing me to torture you through months and months of training to get you ready out there for Sedona. And it honestly, it means the world for you to reach out. I was patiently waiting to ask you to get it on the podcast, and I was like, I have a hard time sometimes asking my athletes to get on because then it's like they think I want them to talk about me. I do not. But you reached out and was like, listen, I want to shoot some, I want to shoot all the shit with you. I want to praise you. And I'm like, no, no, no. I want you to be on the podcast. It would be a great conversation. And I knew you would give so much insight on, someone that is older and maybe contemplating getting into ultra running or hiring a coach. And I knew you would be honest as always and tell the truth. So I'm truly so thankful that you took the time to be on the podcast.
Well, I appreciate you having me, Liz. And yeah, I look forward to our conversations. And yeah, I just can't thank you enough.
Yeah. Again, thank you. And for anyone that is looking for a coach, obviously I have to shamelessly plug Everyday Ultra is always taking on new athletes, and Jim is one that can vouch for us on being amazing people.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. The community, well, the whole ultra community is awesome, but the Everyday Ultra, a lot of information. Joe's podcasts are so informative. Great to listen to on a long run because that man can talk. Wow,
He
he's
can
he
talk.
can
He
talk,
can.
and
Yep.
but he's very passionate and he's very good at what he does. And so
He is.
I'm a big fan. I'm a
Very cool.
big
Very
fan.
cool. Awesome. Well, thank you again for being on the podcast. I look forward to roughly a month out of me
Yep,
being able to start torturing you again.
yep. I look forward to it too, Liz. Thank you so much.